Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel, to our channel. Thank you so much for helping me grow this channel. We're on our way to 1000 finally. Um, but yeah guys, I hope you're all doing amazing. Please subscribe if you're new here. And thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate the love, guys. I hope you're doing amazing today. Today's Sunday. And anyways guys, so I've been really busy with a lot of different things, and I'm probably not going to discuss any of them here, just a lot of work basically, but of course, this doesn't stop me from, thinking about different things, right? And so ideas always come up, and of course, when ideas come up, I want to come here and discuss them with you. So one of the ideas that came up is at first I was going to make this video about narcissists, right? And someone just asked me not that long ago, why are you so obsessed with narcissists? I'm not obsessed with narcissists, okay? Is the answer. I guess I want to expose you all. I want to expose the snake so other people don't get into the same traps, because the trap can literally be deadly with a person who is narcissistic, so I'm obsessed with exposing them, and I'm obsessed with educating people when it comes to narcissism, so they don't so they know, or they're more aware of who they're dealing with, and so yeah, that's why I discuss narcissism on this channel. Of course, I'm not obsessed with them, but I do know a lot about them. I've studied narcissism in great detail, and of course, I know who they are just by dealing with them pretty much for most of my life, So, yeah, and so here's the thing, right? So, at first, I wanted to. I was kind of thinking about this as it pertained to narcissists in particular, but then I realized that it actually, this idea doesn't just relate to narcissists. As narcissists, but there are two main differences, right? So because narcissists, they can never they will probably never be able to get out of their ego. They're forever trapped, right? Which means it's going to impact that particular thing that we're going to discuss in this video, okay? While other people, they might be trapped in their ego for some time, it doesn't mean that they're doomed and they're always going to be trapped there, right? Because at some point I was trapped in my ego too, and eventually, and with work, with a lot of inner work, and a lot of pain, of course, right? Um, I was able to get out of that, right? And so there's light at the end of the tunnel, if for those of you that are still very much trapped in your ego, right? We don't. The good news is we don't have to stay there. But if you are a narcissistic individual, then I'm sorry, you're never going to change, right? And I will also explain why, But anyways, but guys, my core idea was this, okay? People who are trapped in ego can't truly manifest, okay, or create their dreams because fear, defensiveness, and self-protection um, block action and alignment, okay? And I realized this about my mom, actually, right? Because my mother, and of course I will bring up my mom a lot on this channel, because she was kind of like the main narcissist in my family, in my life, right? And so I studied her, or I knew her in great detail, right? I knew her actions, and I paid attention to everything that she was doing, right? And so that's why I bring her up. It's not because I haven't moved on, right? Or I haven't forgiven her. No, it has nothing to do with that, right? It has everything to do with her kind of being my main example. Uh, and that's why I bring her up so much on my channel. It's because I want to kind of give you guys an example, right? A real life example of what something looks like, right? And anyway, so we'll go back to the example of my mom, right? Um, she used to always talk about doing great things, right? But instead, she was trapped. She was trapped in her ego, stuck in the same patterns that she didn't recognize, and that she didn't want to take accountability for. Okay, she was trapped in a lot of different toxic cycles that she could not see, because if she did see, right, in order for us to see the cycles, right, the toxic cycles, we have to also recognize that we're also part of the equation, part of the problem. That's one. So that means taking accountability, right? And so she never took accountability, and not only that, but of course she created illusions around those cycles that she was stuck in, right? And therefore she chose to lie to herself. She chose to dissociate, right? And so she didn't have to once again take accountability, and so she didn't have to do something about it, right? So she, because in most cases, and you know what, it's not just narcissists who do this. A lot of people do this, right? They choose to not see the illusions that they've created. Okay, they choose to lie to themselves, but of course you can never lie to yourself, right? And so even if you create illusions about the different things that are not for you. Okay, but for the most part, narcissists choose to live in those illusions, and on many occasions she lied about everything. She lied about the relationships that she was in, and about being happy in them. She lied about being happy in her work and what she was doing for work. And even though I felt otherwise, even though I could see the pain, I could see the suffering, I tried many times. I tried to get her to get out of those things, okay, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to. She chose to. And why didn't she want to? Well, because she was scared. She was scared, and she was not confident. In fact, those things that she was engaged in were taking away from her confidence even more. And so instead of just being honest with herself and being real and admitting that those things were actually hurting her, she chose to stay in the illusions. She chose to lie to herself and then to everyone else around her, right? She was scared, right? And fear is the number one thing that will keep you stuck, okay? Fear and not admitting the truth, not being authentic, not admitting truth to yourself about any given situation, right? And so yes, so this video is, the core idea of this video is that people that are stuck in their ego, they cannot truly manifest. Okay, they cannot truly manifest, and most people will not tell you about this. Okay, you will hear, oh, manifest your dream life in right away, immediately, right? Or manifest this instantly, right? And you're going to be getting a lot of these silly videos that are like clickbaity, right? They're going to just bullshit to you basically for the most part. But little did you know that you actually have to be in alignment. You have to have a lot of things in alignment in order for you to actually even be able to manifest. Your manifestation has to come from basically, in order to truly manifest or to become the master manifester, you have to be in alignment. And in order to be in alignment, once again, there are a lot of things that are required. There's a lot of inner work that's required, that you have to go through first in order to start manifesting. Okay, so, and once again, a narcissistic individual is not going to be able to do that. They might they might have really big dreams, right? They might, they might discuss a lot of things, right? They might dream big, They might have beautiful dreams, right? But they're never going to make them, they're never going to turn them into a reality, okay? Because they're lacking a lot of inner traits that are necessary in order to do that, basically, right? Because part of the manifestation also, right, if you believe in that, is, you know, but I will discuss what that is, right? But anyway, so I'm gonna just discuss a couple of different points with you, right? Maybe four, like 3 or 4, okay, that stop people from manifesting their desired reality into their life, okay? And so one of those is that the ego traps are fear traps, right? And so a person living from pure ego, right, is constantly defending themselves, right? They're constantly protecting an image. They're avoiding shame, avoiding vulnerability, and reacting rather than acting. Okay, so in that sense, they are not free. They're trapped. They're in jail. Basically, they're in mental jail. Okay, and so a manifestation, right? What do you need in order to manifest, right? You need a real manifestation, right? That requires being open. Okay, it requires awareness, which they're not aware, right? And then that requires honesty, which they're not honest about anything in their lives, right? A narcissist, I mean, right? They're never honest about anything. They lie to themselves, they lie to other people, and they pretty much are always in you know, they're always manipulating, always and they're going against their true self. That also requires humility, right, and alignment, basically, okay? So you need, in order to manifest, for a real manifestation, for to be a true and powerful manifester, right, you need to be open, aware, honest, right? You need to have humility, and you have to be in alignment, right? Being in alignment takes a lot of work. And not only because of that, but because, of course, there are a lot of external influences that are going to try to take you out of that alignment, right? And they might be, I don't know, whatever you want to call them, right? They might be demonic forces. They might be, I don't know, whatever you believe in, right? But once again, there will be a lot of people like crabs in the buckets trying to pull you down and to get you out of this alignment, okay? Or try to steal your energy, even try to steal your energy. There will be a lot of people trying to come in and take you out of this alignment, which means that, you know, you have to protect yourself, basically, right? So if you want for things to really come into fruition with you, and if you want for things to manifest, you have to protect your energy, and you have to, in order to stay in that alignment, right? Where yeah, manifestation really kind of like, the things that you want, well, you can bring forth into your reality, right? Anyways, but the ego, right? The person's ego is terrified of all of those things that I just mentioned, okay? So the second point, guys, is manifestation relies on an inner stillness they don't have, okay? A person trapped in their ego, they don't have that inner stillness. And to create anything, right, you need clarity, authenticity, emotional regulation, intuition, the ability to sit with discomfort, okay? But someone who is stuck in their ego, right, they live in reactivity, grandiosity, or insecurity, thinking that they're better than everyone else, right? Comparison, they're always comparing themselves, a projection, right? Instead of taking ownership, they project all of their negativity, or all of the things that they haven't dealt with from within, or all of the uncomfortable feelings that they're feeling, they project it onto others around them, okay? And that means that they're foregoing their growth, their inner growth that they could have had if they took ownership. And last, defensiveness, right? Basically, it's like trying to grow a flower in concrete. Okay, it's impossible, right? And so point number three, right, is narcissistic patterns block the very ingredients manifestation needs, right? So vulnerability, they can't admit weakness or desire honestly. Self-reflection, it's not there, right? They avoid seeing their own patterns so they can make aligned choices. Okay, responsibility manifestation requires owning your life and not blaming others, right? And narcissists are always blaming others, while other people, sometimes they do blame others, sometimes they don't. I know a lot of channels, for example, uh, you know, mainstream channels for the most part, channels with a lot of views, they have a lot of, they tend to blame, and so a lot of, like, certain channels are like all about, blaming women, and those are very popular, okay? Certain channels are all about blaming men. Those are also very popular, right? And of course, the people that are going to be attracted to these types of channels are the people that haven't recognized that they have to take ownership of also playing a part in that relationship, right? In any particular relationship, and they have to take ownership of the fact that maybe they need to change too in order for their relationships, in order to attract better, basically, right? And they're not willing to look at that. They're not willing to take ownership of that. So anyways, but real action, right? They want the results without the work and praise without the process. And last but not least, right, is fearlessness. They protect their ego at all costs. Manifestation requires risking rejection, failure, change, and growth. Okay, basically they're too busy protecting the false self to grow the real self. And last point, guys, okay, is true manifestation requires authenticity, something they can't access, okay? So basically, what do you need in order to manifest, right? You need intention and alignment, then action, consistency, and receptivity, okay? These are kind of like, but alignment actually requires you to know who you are, right? Not the mask, right? Such as in the narcissist case, not the performance, not the fantasy self, right? And not the wounded ego that they have, right? That they're constantly defending and spending a lot of their energy on, actually, right? And it is at the end of the day all about your energy, right? And how you're using it, right? And where you're sending it towards, what you're spending it on, right? So a person that's going to that's constantly defending themselves, constantly trying to prove something to the world, constantly they're constantly trying to be someone else, right? They're going to spend a lot of energy on something that's really not even worth it or real, and therefore they're gonna lack energy in order to really truly create a lasting and positive change in their life. um, if someone is terrified, right, of seeing their real self, they can't align with their true path, right? Uh, my ideal is that fearlessness, right, is the bridge, right? So fearlessness is the bridge, and fear is the opposite of that, right? And like I said before, right, just to give you guys an example with my mom, right? My mom she was always talking about huge ideas, right, and huge dreams that she wanted to accomplish, right? But I quickly realized that she was missing the main ingredients, and that's mostly, she believed in manifestation, right? And she always, but she was missing the main ingredients, and that's going after the things that she wanted, right? And because she lacked that inner confidence, which most, especially narcissists, a lot of people do, right? And not even narcissists, right? A lot of people lack the confidence, right? The confidence is what actually gives you the, it gives you the it's like your catalyst towards going after your dreams and whatever you want, right? And that's why I always tell people, don't stick around in bad relationships, because they're going to take away your confidence, which means you won't be able to become the best version of yourself, right? So staying in bad relationship holds you back from alignment, basically, and in turn manifestation, right? And so yeah. So fearlessness, right, is the bridge, right? And this is where yeah. And so um, manifestation, right, requires risking failure, showing up authentically, taking uncomfortable action, letting go of control, surrendering the outcome, and trusting something bigger, right? A narcissist defending their ego cannot do that. It's too scared of being exposed or humbled, basically. Okay, and so yeah, guys. Basically, in short, right, people stuck in ego can imagine dreams, but they can't embody them. And in order to bring your dreams into your reality, you have to embody them, right? If you want true love, you have to become love, right? If you want to be rich, you have to feel rich, okay? And not just act rich, okay? We also get these things wrong too, okay? Acting is part of being a narcissist, right? They act, they pretend like they're confident when they're really not, right? And I discussed this in my other videos already, right? Where you can tell when the person is pretending, right? They over exaggerate something, right? And of course, there are other types of narcissists there, and they under exaggerate something, right? Or no, under exaggerate, that's the wrong word. They under like there's a covert narcissist too, right? And those kind of lack confidence. Okay, so you don't always get the grandiose, the really full of themselves narcissists, right? The obvious narcissists. You can also get the covert ones, which actually kind of they will seem very unconfident, right? So just because someone is acting, too good for everyone else with their nose up in the air, right? Doesn't mean that's not the only indication of a narcissist, basically, So yeah, there's that, right? But let's see. So manifestation, right? It comes from your soul, and narcissists don't have a soul, and so because ego is the opposite, basically, right? And of course, many of us are very much are still stuck in our ego, right? And therefore, even using manifestation techniques, they're not going to be effective for most people, okay? Who are still very much stuck in their ego, right? And so I know a lot of people know about this theory, right? And they don't believe in it because of all the things that I just mentioned in the video. Because once again, you have to have a lot of components in line in order for you to truly manifest, okay? And if they're not, then you're not going to be able to manifest, and in turn, you're not going to believe the concept of maybe manifestation, right? And of course, manifestation can also relate to, being in alignment or walking in your light, right? Walking in your light, stepping into that purpose, right? Or embodying the light being that you are, right? Which basically kind of serves God, right? And in that sense, when you're serving God, it isn't really even, it doesn't, some people say that it's not just manifestation. Some people say that it is God giving you your promises. It is God, rewarding you for the good works, right? It is God. So some people, it doesn't matter what I believe, right? But some people think it's manifestation, alignment, because once again, I look at these two things now, right? As being, there, to me, it's almost the same. You can believe in this or that, it doesn't really matter, because when you are manifesting, when you become a powerful manifester by doing all of those things that I mentioned, right, by embodying, by aligning, right, with who you are, who you truly are, your true self, right, you once again, you will become a powerful manifester, and when you're a powerful manifester, you naturally serve the light, right, or God, and so you get rewarded either by using your energy. Some people say we're gods, right? We're gods, and we, we do this ourselves, right? I don't necessarily believe that. I don't know. Okay, I don't think so. Um, or it could be God, right? It could be God that's giving you the rewards. Okay, that's bringing in the rewards because of your obedience, and yeah. But anyways, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Okay, and yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, and stay tuned for other videos. Oh yeah, also sign up for a hypnotherapy session if you like. They're amazing. Also, thank you so much, George. Thank you so much, George, for purchasing a couple of hypnotherapy videos from me. I really appreciate you. I know you said you really enjoyed them, and that warms my heart. Okay, I'm really happy that, you know, my products are serving others and people are can benefit from them. Okay, so thanks so much, and stay tuned for more videos, guys. Okay.